It's always intriguing to think about how a small piece of evidence can become a landmark in understanding history. This process involves meticulous study, archaeological discoveries, and the examination of ancient documents. Indeed, anything from a fragment of fabric to a passage from a diary can contribute to reconstructing and understanding past events. After all, this is what history aims to do, to investigate what existed, both socially and physically, in our world. However, the task is not always straightforward. Often, historians find themselves limited by historical theories that cannot be confirmed nor denied with the evidence available so far. What is curious, or perhaps frustrating, is that this absence of answers and proofs makes these enigmas even more fascinating. With this in mind, today we'll explore 6 of the greatest historical mysteries that will likely remain without a definitive answer. Let's start with the first one. Who was Jack the Ripper? You may have heard of him in movies, books, or articles. This notorious murderer began his crime spree in 1888 in London. He targeted women who prostituted in the suburbs, and his murders followed a macabre pattern. All the victims were throat slashed, and except in one case, all had their abdomens opened and organs removed. Detectives at the time were unable to capture the culprit, despite the deaths of 5 women. Heightening media attention on the case, the head of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee received a letter supposedly written by the killer, who self-styled as Jack the Ripper. Along with the letter, a part of a preserved human kidney was sent. Despite intense investigations and significant public interest, the true identity of this most infamous killer in history was never unveiled. Thus, the enigma of Jack the Ripper remains unsolved to this day. In 2014, a book that also sparked an investigation caused a stir by claiming to have finally uncovered the identity of Jack the Ripper. According to the authors, the killer was Aaron Kosminski, a 23-year-old Polish barber who was already on the list of suspects for the crimes. However, a critical flaw was revealed in the same year the book was published. This flaw called into question the main piece of evidence from the investigators, which was the match between the DNA from a sample found on a shawl belonging to one of the victims and the DNA of a descendant of Kosminski. Thus, it was concluded once again that the true identity of Jack the Ripper remains a mystery. Moving on to the second great mystery, the location of the tomb of Cleopatra, Queen of Egypt, continues to be one of the most captivating enigmas of archaeology. Despite Cleopatra's historical significance, no historian or archaeologist has been able to determine where she was buried. Ancient accounts claim that Cleopatra and her lover, Mark Antony, were buried together around 30 BC. Plutarch, who lived between 45 and 120 AD, wrote that the couple's tomb was near a temple dedicated to the goddess Isis and described it as a majestic monument filled with treasures. Despite these details, the exact position and state of Cleopatra's tomb are still unknown. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, also remain a mystery. There is no concrete evidence to confirm the existence of these gardens, known only through accounts from ancient writers like Berosus, who wrote around 290 BC. These accounts describe the gardens as an earthly paradise created by King Nebuchadnezzar II for his Persian wife, accustomed to mountains. The structure would have consisted of tiered aqueducts, rich in various plants and trees. However, researchers like Stephanie Dalley of the University of Oxford suggest that they might have been located in another city, such as Nineveh in present-day Iraq. Additionally, there are theories that the Hanging Gardens may have been merely a literary myth. Moving on to the fourth mystery, we have the enigmatic Voynich manuscript. This book, a 240-page work entirely handwritten and illustrated, is possibly dated to the 15th century and represents one of the greatest enigmas in global cryptography. None of the words written in a mysterious code have been deciphered to date. The alphabet used in the manuscript is unprecedented, and the illustrations, which feature unidentified plants and unusual human figures, defy any rational explanation. The manuscript also contains drawings that seem to be related to astronomy and the zodiac constellations. Its origin, content, and the purpose of the drawings continue to be a deep mystery. Some theorists suggest that the book could be a collection of meaningless words. However, the consistent structure of the text suggests that it could be a language or code elaborately conceived by the author. The Voynich manuscript remains a complex enigma, likely to remain unsolved for many centuries. The fifth mystery, known as the WOW signal, is one of the most fascinating enigmas in modern astronomy. Curiosity about the existence of extraterrestrial life was intensified in 1977 when a remarkable event was recorded. Jerry Amon, working on a NASA project called Big Ear, was analyzing radio signals from space and captured something notable. For 72 seconds, an unusual pattern of radio waves was detected, originating from an area in space near the star Tau Sagittarii, about 120 light-years away. The pattern was so notable that Amon, astounded, circled the printed characters representing the signal and wrote "WOW" next to it, coining the name of the phenomenon. Since then, many theories have been proposed to explain the signal, and in 2016, astronomer Antonio Paris suggested that comets passing through the same area could have caused the signal. However, this theory still has flaws, and the mystery of the WOW signal continues to incite debate and speculation. The sixth mystery addresses the legend of the lost city of Atlantis, which continues to capture the imagination of many. Plato was the first to mention Atlantis in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, describing it as an island in the Atlantic Ocean, near the Pillars of Hercules, now known as the Strait of Gibraltar. According to him, this advanced civilization had dominated parts of Europe and Africa before being swallowed by the sea due to a natural catastrophe. Although it is a literary account, the historical existence of Atlantis has never been confirmed, raising doubts about whether the city was based on a real civilization or was merely a product of Plato's imagination. Some modern theories propose that Plato might have been referring to the Minoans, an advanced Bronze Age civilization from the island of Crete, which was destroyed by a major volcanic disaster known as the Minoan eruption. Indeed, a major natural disaster occurred in the Aegean Sea between 1650 and 1450 BC, known as the Minoan eruption, one of the largest documented volcanic events. However, the reality of Atlantis, whether as a historical fact or as a myth, remains one of the great enigmas of history, with no definitive evidence to confirm it. Despite these theories and intriguing coincidences, nothing has been definitively proven to this day. The truth about these mysteries remains an enigma. But what about you? What do you think? Do you believe that one day we will discover more about these historical secrets, or will it all continue to be a great mystery? Leave your comment below and I'll see you in the next video. Until then.